Dear boomers, Bandy Lee, Bandy Lee appeared on Anthony Davis's show last night, probably maybe for the final time, but maybe not because there's always something coming up for her to analyze in terms of the psychiatric insights that she has about Donald J. Trump. And I had some very interesting takeaways from this this show, which was aired last evening. Um, the emphasis on their conversation was on the debate that aired last week, and it was interesting to see her viewpoint because it was phenomenal. Um, the topic of the show is in conversation, mental health, leadership, and political power. Um, it's very interesting because, in light of the ABC debate, um, we saw a rather unhinged, psychotic, hateful, bombastic Donald Trump, and we saw a calm Kamala who, as she says, she knows his type and she went after him in a way that nobody has ever done in public to his face before. Now, the thing is, she knows his type. That means she has had years and years working with criminal people, people who have committed crimes, and she's had to discuss their crimes and their criminality with psychiatrists, with law enforcement people over the years. So she knew the language. She knew how to get him cornered very quickly by discussing his crowd size. That sent him over the edge. And then discussing that he was shameful. Nobody has ever said that to his face before. And we see all kinds of commentary of people, maybe touching upon Trump's criminology. He is a crook, worse crook than Nixon ever was. Not to mention his vice president, but we'll get to that in a moment. Mental health and leadership intertwine. And Bandy Lee did not think that there should have been a debate because it normalizes Donald Trump. This debate was seen by millions and millions of people, and you could see the psychological dynamics Donald Trump between the two candidates, and she was masterful. And I think the reason she was masterful is because of her vast experience with Donald Trump's type. Now, what is that type? Narcissistic personality, and nobody is more important to Donald Trump than Donald Trump. He is a dangerous person and a dangerous personality. That's why you do not want to see, says Bandy Lee, people like Donald Trump assuming power, because they are dangerous, and he is a dictator type who demonizes people of color, who demonizes the migrants, the beautiful migrants who have built this country. I mean, everybody says it's the middle class, but it's the migrants. It was people who were freed from slavery. They built this country. And so she understands Trump's psychological traits, and she used them to the point where it was masterful, it was perfect, and she really brought him down. And so, in his grandiose way, he said he won the debate, and all of his sycophants are, talking about anything else but the fact that he is a failing candidate. So, it's very rare. And I think the reason nobody has confronted Donald Trump on his pathology before is because they don't have that kind of insight into the human nature that you can only get for many years working with other people. Nurses have this, teachers have this. We develop a second sense as to where a person really is. We may not be prone to believing what these people say. Over the weekend, and of course, and then also in the debate, he started screaming about the Haitian population in Springfield, Ohio, eating the dogs and the pets. That was shocking. And it was sort of amusing at first because he was acting like some old grandpa shouting at the kids to get off his property. We all know that stereotype. But it became very dangerous. And over the weekend, J.D. Vance admitted that J.D. Vance, he doesn't dance. That J.D. Vance actually admitted that he makes these stories up to attract hate towards the migrant community anywhere that he can find. That's going to backfire. That's this week, should be quite a week. Bearing down on these comments. I mean, he just is a strange one. And the thing is, Bandy Lee often talks about the contagion of Donald Trump's personality disorder. And J.D. Vance is a perfect example of somebody who has been lured in by the pathology of Donald Trump, all of his followers, and of course, the recent revelation that this right-wing fanatic is his main campaign advisor, Laura Loomer. She is his main campaign advisor. He only listens to her. And for some reason, this has been going on for quite some time, and nobody has ever brought it up in the mainstream media until now. Why? Oh, because Laura Loomer accompanied Donald Trump to the 9/11 ceremonial event last week on 9/11, and she is a 9/11 denier, or it could be called a 9/11 truther or non-truther. She went to that with him, and she was priming him for the debate. And so when he starts screaming about eating cats and dogs, that came from that woman, that woman. So, and that did not come up with Bandy Lee, I don't believe. So Kamala began by shaking Donald Trump's hand, went straight to him, put out her hand and said, "I am Kamala Harris." She should have said, "For the people," but she said something else. Because I love that, for the people. So she was wonderful. And we love her. Narcissism. Mary Trump, Trump's niece, has been trying to make a case for a long time. And then in this memoir, it just was recently published, and I am reading it, in the process of reading it, and I'll talk about it again. It's really tough to be brought up, and so many of us are brought up in families who are completely dysfunctional. It's not just Donald Trump, and it's not just Mary Trump. I think she gives us some good insight into her family and the expose, you might say, of cruelty. And she's a great person, and she has crawled out of that mess, probably through heavy-duty therapy. Oh my gosh. So the debate was more than political theater, and I agree with that. It was an examination of mental health and leadership, and the importance of recognizing dangerous traits before they cause harm. Now we lost it on this one. I mean, I don't know why people didn't stand up more strategically, but all these Republicans are coming out for Kamala, are saying that, and especially after the debate, it became apparent that he, if everybody wanted Joe Biden to step out because of his quote, senility, which I love. I love Joe Biden. He's not senile, he's just getting old. And Donald Trump is getting old and he's senile. He has extreme dementia. There's no doubt about that in my mind. I've been working with people for over 40 years, full time, and I just retired. So I am going to read this book, and I am reading it. Take a look at my garden activities over the weekend. I was chopping down trees, and I was clearing out my yard, and it's really nice. The video that you will see shows the niceness, but the two videos before that show the wild, crazy garden that needed to be decluttered. Goodbye.